Hello, I'm Bekupin, and you are watching Rappler. Today, I am joined by broadcaster and former DSWD Secretary Erwin Tulfo for a chat on his exit from government and whether he's actually staying because President Marcos has said that he wants the former DSWD chief to continue serving in his administration. Good afternoon, Erwin. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ms. Bea, for inviting me in your show.
Sir, straight to the burning questions here ng lahat ng tao. Bakit po kayo umalis ng DSWD?
Well, actually, because I was bypassed twice by
Mm.
the Commission on Appointments because of issues like about my libel cases and citizenship. So, the president told me like I was already bypassed. Sabi ko nga sa kanya, sir, kung medyo pabigat, I can exit now. And the president said like, no, wait lang, stay there muna for a while. Meaning to say, hang on.
Yeah.
So, iyon, I did. So, naglagay sila ng, since I cannot sign anymore because I was twice bypassed, they appointed an OIC so that makapagsweldo ang tao and then the
Mhm.
operations of the SWD can continue.
Mm. Pero sir, na-curious lang ako, bakit gano'n yung pagka-announce? Parang yung lead, kumbaga, in journalistic terms, no? May OIC in the person of OIC Yusek Punay, and it wasn't so much that you exit, but it was vague. If you did you exit or was it assumed exit kasi nga na-bypass na ng CA?
Yes, I told the president a couple of days after
Yeah.
that bypass.
Yeah.
I went to Malacanang and the president said, "Pahinga ka muna, and then we'll
Mm.
find another job for you." Ayun. But for now, keeping myself busy helping again the party list that we have, the
Yeah.
AXIS party list. That's what I'm
Mm.
doing right now.
Mm. Sir, nabanggit mo, we'll talk about that a little later, President Marcos saying that he does want you to continue working in the administration. Pero we have to talk about the issues that the CA brought up against you. Sir, to clarify, what did you mean when you said that what does working with the U.S. Department of Defense exactly mean?
I was I worked for the Department of Defense. I was in
Mm.
the military. I was with the United States Army.
Yeah.
I worked there for a couple of years. So there was actually a contract.
Yeah.
Ayun, then after actually 4 years, and then I got out. And then after
Yeah.
that, I went straight back home here in the Philippines.
Yeah. Did you have to renounce your Filipino citizenship, sir? I believe that was one of the issues that they asked.
It was the situation, ma'am, is actually complicated, and
Mm-hmm.
hanggang ngayon nga, it's really hard to answer because it was uh, as far as the documents that I have, it states like I'm no longer an American citizen, and I
Okay.
failed to submit some pertinent documents. That's why I did not
Mm.
qualify to be an American citizen.
Oh, when did you last use your you were a passport, an American passport
Yes,
holder, sir, at one point?
I had, yeah, last over a year now, for a year now.
The last time you used it, your US passport, I mean.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, the second issue that was brought up against you was the libel conviction. Yung decriminalization ng libel, medyo hot topic yun among human rights defenders and journalists, especially including Rappler. How does your own experience in having faced, dealt with a libel complaint and a libel conviction shape the way you see how libel should be taken up in the Philippines?
Well, kasi ma'am, actually, it is being abused. In my own point of view, nakita naman natin as a journalist. Actually, ma'am, most of the libels that I had were when I was writing for a newspaper. I started kasi
Yeah.
when I came back from the US, I started in a newspaper, in Today newspaper, back then in
Yeah.
1996. Doon ko nakuha may mga libel and then work in a tabloid as a columnist. Doon ko nakuha yung mga libel. Every time, medyo hindi
Mm.
nagustuhan nung sinulat mo, yung article laban sa kanila, they would file a libel suit para just to give you a hard time, just parang
Yeah.
harassment, para you have to go. Meron pa nga dyan, yung tao na sinulat mo is from Metro Manila, just to give you a
Yeah.
hard time dahil alam nila as a reporter mahihirapan ka,
Yeah.
would file a case in Davao or would file a case in Holo or somewhere very, very far. So, makikita mo na talaga ng harassment lang. So, ang ginagawa naman ng lawyers ko, ang ginagawa, dinadala namin dito sa DOJ kasi hindi naman siya taga doon. Pero ang reason nila, nabasa ko doon when I was in Mindanao. I saw this, so I
Mm.
filed the case here. So obviously nagagamit lang siya to
Yeah.
harass the journalist.
Yeah. Was this something that the president asked you about? The fact that the CA brought up that libel conviction against you.
Well, there most usually yung cabinet members I found out na before
Mm.
they make salang or before they face the commission and appointments, there
Mm.
is a commission appointment secretariat na mag-iimbestiga. They will ask you all
Mm.
these questions. So they came to my office. I mean, a month before I will face the commission and appointments, and
Yeah.
they asked me all these questions. And you nga, they asked me about the libel issues, and I said, yeah, I said like matter of fact, I have 48 libel cases. Most of them were dismissed, and four I
Mm.
was convicted. I said, so there's nothing to hide actually.
Mm-mm. Sir, this might be 6 months late of a question, but what made you decide to join government in the first place?
It's public service, ma'am. When they said to report to the headquarters of BBM in Mandaluyong, and then they said that, well, how would you like the position of Secretary of DSWD? And during that time, I was a broadcaster. I'm already doing public service through the AXIS party list that we have and in our radio program. So I said, why not?
Mm.
Subukan ko. I mean, mas maraming matutulungan and at the same time may funding compared dun sa
Yes.
isang party sa maliit lang yung pondo.
Yeah. Yun nabanggit mo na rin, Erwin, no? Yung pagkaiba, syempre, bukod sa funding, literally, you had the whole portfolio of social services, social welfare. What surprised you about government work is you have that interesting perspective also, no? Parang opposite sides of covering government service and actually being the person in charge.
Miss Bea, yung red tape at saka bureaucracy. The red
Yeah.
tape, hihingi lang yung isang tao ng burial or pa-hospital. Gusto niyang ilabas yung kaanak niya right away sa hospital pero need niya ng pambayad. Dala-dala niya na yung kanyang medical bill, ID, pabalikin pa siya after 3 days or wait siya na 7 days, nag-accumulate syempre yung bill. What I did
Mm.
was like I gave a directive na kung pwede that same day ibigay na sa kanila yung kanilang medical bills or yung burial benefits provided. And then ang daming hinihingi, Miss Bea, and which is another thing, a problem na ginagamit ng ilang mga officials. Pag hindi sila binoto ng tao na yon, they will give them a hard time, lalo na sa lower level ng mga LGUs. If they would ask for indigency certificate, hindi sila nabibigyan, hindi sila binibigyan. So, nahihirapan yung tao. So, I removed that from one of the requirements na bago ka makahingi ng medical assistance or burial assistance or pamasahay sa barko, eroplano, kailangan mo ng indigency. Paano nga kung kalaban mo yung tao o yung government official na yun sa barangay, then hindi ka
Mm.
mabibigyan ng mga form na ito. And then, so hindi ka makakuha because that's one of the requirement. Inalis natin yun. So, yung red tape, Miss Bea, na yun
Yeah.
ang problem with the government, transacting with the government. Maraming paikot-ikot, they'll really give you a hard time. Kaya yung mga tao,
Yeah.
Frustrated, tired, parang ayaw na lumapit sa mga agencies ng gobyerno because there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of requirements na
Yeah.
paulit-ulit lang naman. When in fact, hindi naman nakailangan eh. Why would you need an indigency? You think ang mayaman lalapit sa DSWD para humingi ng pamasahe? I don't think so.
Yeah. H- How was it though navigating that? Siguro two levels of that question. Navigating through the red tape, but then also there's the layer of politics in maybe particularly in the DSWD and in the bureaucracy in general.
Well, syempre, there are people na behind my back, they're saying, akala niya mababago niya ang sistema. I can hear that, yung lalo na yung mga
Mm.
matatagal dyan.
Mm.
But I really stood my ground and I said like, no, we have to really do this. And then I asked permission naman sa Malacanang. And Malacanang said that do what you have to do. Kung kailangan mo ng alisin yan, bawasan yan, then do it. So that's what I did. May blessing naman from Malacanang na to make
Mm.
drastic changes, lalo na just sa mga requirements, Miss Bea.
Sir, nabanggit mo na rin nga yung support of Malacanang and the president. What was it like working for President Marcos? How is he as a boss?
To tell you the truth, ma'am, Miss Bea, uh, it's easy.
Mm.
Honestly, pag humingi kami ng funding, for example, disaster, like what happened yung first earthquake sa Abra, I remember that, kaupo pa lang
Yes.
namin July, there was an earthquake. So pinadala namin lahat ng pondo namin doon sa earthquake victims, pa-repair ng mga houses, and then food, etc. And then came yung suddenly yung meron tayong tropical storm or depression was that, nagkaroon ng flooding in that area again in the Ilocos region in Cordillera. So medyo low na yung funds, depleted. So I went to the president and I said like, sir, we need some funding to replenish. All he told me was like, talk to Secretary Pangandaman, and that's it. So I texted Secretary Pangandaman and I said, I told Secretary Pangandaman na the president gave instructions to ask funding from you, yung emergency cash natin. So the DBM said, how much do you need? Yung binigay naman kagad. It only took about 48 to 72 hours. Then yung
Oh.
pondo na download kagad sa amin. So we were able to respond. And we always respond because may pondo lagi, Miss Bea. And yun yung instructions ni President Marcos na kung kailangan mo ng pondo, humingi ka lang para maibigay natin, maibaba natin. And that's what I told him. Sir, kailangan ko talaga ng pondo para mabilis tayo. We can respond right away. And pumayag naman siya.
So parang the impression that you're painting is basically decisions are made very rather quickly in the cabinet.
Exactly, ma'am. I mean, I don't know sa other administrations, pero lahat kami, lahat ng cabinet members, I think during the first week of the president, binigyan niya kami ng direct line niya, yung kanyang cellphone. He said, like, if there's any problem, if you need my assistance, you need to talk to
Yeah.
me, you can call me here. So lahat kami, lahat ng cabinet secretaries, binigyan niya ng mga numbers
Mm.
niya para you can call. He said, like, you can call me anytime.
Yeah. Is he a micromanager, referring to the president, of course? Or does he just let you decide the way that you think things should be done?
There are instances na he goes micromanage like
Okay.
distribution of relief packs. He would call me. Balita ko, hindi pa nabibigyan daw ito yung doon sa Bicol or somewhere in Mindanao. Sabi ko, sir, nabigyan na. Well, kausapin mo ito si Mayor ganito kasi dumiretso sa akin and he's asking for
Yeah.
assistance. I said, yes, sir. Yeah, pero most of the time, he would just let us do what we have to do and we just have to report it to him every cabinet meeting, Miss Bea.
Mm. Sir, 6 months, 7 months. I'm sure it's a rather quick time, but I'm sure parts of it felt to you like years. Do you have any regrets in heading the DSWD and joining government?
I could have done more siguro, Miss Bea, because there's a lot of projects that were left behind. Yung isa na doon and the president was informed na and gusto niya na lahat ng mga IPs over 4 million ng IPs natin na hindi pa registered, na walang mga birth
Mm.
certificates. Isa yan sa mga priority niya na gusto niyang tapusin, and then yung mawala na yung mga badyaw na pupunta din sa Metro Manila magpalimos. So isa sa mga projects sana natin this quarter is like bigyan sila ng livelihood doon sa Mindanao so that they will not come over to Metro Manila anymore. Hindi lang naman mga badyaw, pati mga Aita in Zambales and Bataan na bigyan sila ng livelihood like for planting, yung mga badyaw naman dahil mga boat people yan, bigyan sila ng mga bangka. Yun yung isa sa mga projects na hindi pa na-execute, Miss Bea.
Sir, nabanggit mo nga marami kang gusto sana pang gawin. Did the president talk to you about possible replacements, if you would recommend anyone to the post?
Yeah, he said that na baka one of
Mm.
these days sabi niya, I'm going to call you, I'm going to ask you sino ba pwedeng who can replace you. Sabi niya gano'n na you really believe na or within the agency itself, yung mga veterano na diyan, you can recommend
Yeah.
and we are going to call you. So I said yes.
Yeah. Sir, again, based on your 6 months in the DSWD, based on your experience, what should be changed in the department? Or like, it's referring to changes that perhaps you weren't able to implement, or changes that were hard to implement, or changes na kailangan siguro maging institutionalized, and shouldn't depend on whoever is the secretary.
Siguro ma'am yung it should be institutionalized yung giving the assistance ma'am kasi parang paiba-iba kagaya ng when I was the DSWD secretary pinadali natin yung pagkuha ng assistance for individual in crisis, binawasan natin yung time frame na 7 days waiting period, and then yung mga requirements we cut it down from 7, we cut it down to 2 na lang yung medical certificate or death certificate and an ID. Pero I'm sure baka pag may naupo na bago na secretary, babalik na naman sa dati, kailangan na requirements because isa sa mga sinasasabihin ng mga lalo na yung mga veterano na doon. Kasi baka makowa tayo. The problem always, Miss Bea, sa government agencies, natatakot yung mga officials sa COA. Pero I told them nga, bakit ka matatakot kung babawasan lang naman natin ang requirement and we're not pocketing these money, the funds, we're really, there's a name in there. Kung gusto ng COA i-check nila kung talaga natanggap ng tao yung money because kompleto na, may address, pati yung hospital billing nandyan, may resibo. So, kailangan siguro institutionalize na hindi na pahirapan yung mga tao na mga mahihirap, lalo na yung mga, and then yung sa requirements, and then yung time frame lang, Ms. Bea, kasi it's very important, lalo na yung makalabas sa ospital or magpalibing, aantayin pa ng
Yeah.
7 days hindi naman kailangan.
That sounds like a policy and a cultural change, like within the department, or am I reading that wrong?
Yes, Miss Bea, correct.
Mm-mm. Sir, yung siguro yung opening salvo din natin, the president in a media panel interview, he was asked if you would become a presidential advisor. Sabi niya that wasn't in the discussion, but he did say that he wants to keep you in the administration. Have you had more recent talks? What does that mean exactly to continue serving in the administration?
I don't know, ma'am. I just want to thank the president for the continued trust and confidence, like I said in my social media post. But actually, what I did, Miss Bea, was just I just did what I have to do. Yung instructions niya na to help yung mga nasa laylayan na lipunan immediately. And then yung pandemic recovery because everybody's having a hard time na wag nang pahirapan. So, ginawa ko lang naman yung gusto niya and yung nararapat na what we have to do as government officials, yung service. If we can give that service or help to the people right away, why let them wait?
Maraming salamat, sir. We look forward to whatever that continued service in administration will be for you. But you're open, obviously. Or is this something that is not yet a final decision?
It's not a final decision yet, ma'am. I'm enjoying right now. Like I said, I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now as executive director of our charitable divisions party list namin. But if it's a social services again a job, then I will take the job, Miss Bay.
Mm-mm. I believe that was the line of President Marcos nga, parang given your performance in DSWD, he wanted to continue bringing you in the realm of social services. Thank you very much again, Erwin, for your time. And thank you for watching Rappler. We'll keep you updated with any developments in the Marcos administration.
Thank you, Miss
Thank you.
Bea. Thank you for inviting me. Good afternoon.